102.1 KPRI. Today is the International Day of Happiness, and there's nobody I know who's more internationally happy than Steve Poltz, who's going to be appearing at the Reuben H. Fleet for Rock in the Park on Friday night. What makes you happy?
I would say having a purpose each day. As long as I'm working on something that I believe in, that I like, building things makes me happy. So I like building. An audience base all around the world.
And
I like knowing
everywhere.
That. Yeah, but I always want things to be more. I always want to. It's a never-ending thing. Like I'll be working on it till the day I die. I'll never retire, and so I'm pretty. I mean, I'm not happy every day. I'm happy. I have happy moments, but when you're working on something, sometimes you're not happy about everything. But I'm driven. I don't like sitting still. I don't need a lot of sleep.
I've never seen you sit still, and anyone who's ever seen you, whether it was solo or with the Rugburns back in the day, knows that you're always moving.
Yeah, I am. People say it's hard to photograph me on stage, that I'm like a hummingbird.
Yeah, well, that would be true. And you're dressed like one, by the way. A nice costume.
Thank you.
So you got a new album that you're releasing on Friday night.
I do. I put out a rock record. It's called The Accident. I went in to make a folky acoustic record and accidentally made a rock record, and so that's why it's called The Accident.
And you made it with some friends in Austin, Texas?
Yeah, I've made a bunch of records in Austin. It's kind of my home away from home, and I was out there. And I was actually just going to play a show, and then I went into my friend Lars's studio, Lars, and I asked him if he could just record a quick acoustic song. And then I said, "Oh, okay, we did that, but I have this rock song I just wrote called El Centro. Can we record that?" And he said, "Yeah." He's got the Swedish accent. "I'll have drummer over here soon," which is a terrible Swedish accent, by the way. And he had drummer over soon and bass player. And then he gave me an electric guitar. I strapped that sucker on. We turned up the amps really loud and started making this rock record. And I'm so excited about it. It's a complete left turn from what I've been doing, and it harkens back to the days of the Rugburns. And it's meant to be played.
I mean, you still get the Rugburns out occasionally.
Yeah.
And I know you love those guys.
I do love them. I love them a lot. We're like family. It's really fun for me to tour alone because I toured for so many years with the band.
Yeah.
And when you tour alone, you don't have to ask anybody anything. You just
go do it.
I'm going to stop here and get a coffee. I'm going to go look at this museum. I want to go to this flea market. Like I kind of have the ultimate job because I get to go to cities and I can go to look at cool old guitars and guitar shops. I can go to record stores. I can go to cool, funky coffee houses. I can eat the Thai food or wherever I want to eat that day, and I don't have to really consult anyone.
And if you want to be alone...
I love it.
Yeah, but if you're with a band, it doesn't work out like that.
No, and I would tour with a band again, and I have toured with a band other than the Rugburns, different bands I put together. But one thing now is I know that I don't like to share a hotel room. What makes me happy, getting back to happiness, is having my own hotel room. I love hotels. I really love hotels, and I don't like crappy hotels. The older I get...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I like a nice hotel, and I don't like bed and breakfasts.
You've done enough of those, too?
I've done enough to know I hate them. I don't want to be in somebody's house and have them tell me when I have to eat breakfast and sit with a bunch of strangers and have to get up when they say breakfast is, or you feel guilty.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah, so if somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Steve, we'll put you up at a B&B," it's like,
Well, if it's free, I'll take it. If it's part of the gig, I'll do it, and that's when I still stay in them. But if it's my own choice, I'm trying to find a good, funky little hotel that's kind of neat to
look at.
Do
you like different hotels, or is there one chain that's cool? Or I'm just curious.
Well, if I can avoid a really big chain, I'll avoid it. But man, if anybody ever is going to give me a Four Seasons, I'll take that any day. Those are great.
You ever had one of those?
Oh yeah, the bedding in those, amazing. The 800,000 thread count sheets, all that kind of stuff. You really notice a difference. But I really like some of the funkier kind of indie hotels that are, there's chains of different ones like Kimpton hotels and stuff like that.
Kimptons are great hotels, yeah.
Yeah, they're usually kind of funky and neat. But I'm a fan also of just like a Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
They give you that little tray on the bed. They have a nice duvet. It's not bad. And what I like is I like a hotel that doesn't charge you for parking or Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's kind of a ripoff.
Because sometimes you get a deal on Hotwire.
Right.
And then
$60
it's a
hotel
four-star hotel, they'll say. But then it turns out you have to pay $25 for parking, and they charge you like $20 for Wi-Fi. That kind of stuff kind of irks me. I like a hotel where you can park really close to where your room is, because I'm always lugging up guitars, because obviously we don't leave our guitars in the car.
Have you ever had a guitar stolen?
I have had a guitar stolen. It happened once to me, and it was in Arizona. I was at the U of A, and I was playing there, and I set it at my table, and I just went to get a refill on my drink, and I came back, and my guitar was gone. I couldn't believe it.
Were you devastated?
No, because I had borrowed it. It was somebody else's guitar. I was devastated for that person.
I really feel bad for you, Madison. You know that guitar you lent me?
Yeah.
You're not going to get it back. It's gone.
I used to have this Ovation guitar. Well, I still have it. It's called, remember when Ovations were big?
Yeah, but I never liked them because they're plastic, and they always slid out of my lap when I'd sit down, and I didn't like to stand up. And then after a while, the plastic will kind of peel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're horrible, but I have one. I don't play it now, but I saw Ray Davies 2 years ago at South by Southwest, and he plays them, so...
Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, they're Ovation guitars. They're vintage now.
They are, aren't they?
And I'm glad I still have mine. I have the Glenn Campbell Artist.
Yes.
So it's a signature series by Glenn Campbell, and it's really cool. I like it a lot. It's not cool, but it is cool.
So are you going to be playing any of the new songs on Friday night?
Yeah, I'm playing solo, but I rock. One of them's called I Want My Effing House Back. And another one's called Monkeys. Another one is called Easily Used.
We do want to mention that if you're coming to the show and, expect profanity.
Well, I don't know. I don't plan on ever using profanity. I try not to.
Out.
Every once in a while, yeah. I try not to because I don't want to rely on that. And I just had this. I just played at South by Southwest. I'm fresh from South by Southwest, and my official showcase.
14, by the way, 14 shows in 3 days.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was nuts
because they have all these day parties, and my official showcase. I guess somebody came out who had booked me for a folk festival I'm playing, and they said we need to rethink this. This guy was totally crass on stage. So I was thinking, man, I got to really watch what I say. So then I had to write the guy and give him a guarantee that I wouldn't offend. I would keep my show PG. So some shows are way more, if I'm playing and there's a bunch of kids in the crowd, I keep it family friendly.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to offend people, but when it's a bar show, sometimes just all bets are off and stuff happens.
Well, you don't drink anymore.
I don't.
And I don't play guitar, but I do play, and sometimes if I'm going to play in front of people, and there are certain songs I know that I've got down perfectly, like Willin' by Little Feat. I
love that
very
song.
Nice song. Do a great song. But just to get up enough courage, I had a great backing band. They're like, you want to do this? I'm like, well, sure. But by the time I got on stage, I think I'd had way too many rum and cokes.
Right.
And then every word that came out was, this is the best effing song that you've effing heard. And,
yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're like, did you realize you were swearing? And I'm like, me? Because I never swear on the radio.
Yeah.
And then they played me a tape, and I was very embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I try not to as much anymore because I think there are better words you can use that are more imaginative.
Not when you're drunk.
Right. But if you're drunk, well, when I used to drink, then it was...
Never knew what was going to happen.
No, and then I used to get anonymous letters from people. This is back because I haven't drank in 9 years, so this is back before emails and stuff. So I used to get anonymous letters from people saying, about last week, you really offended my mom, my sister, my dad, or just flat out, we're really worried about you. I used to get the real "we're worried about you" letters a lot, and so... Anyways, I would just ignore them and go, ha,
do you have a pile of them? Did you save any?
I don't save anything. I'm not organized. But I save emails just because I never delete them. So I have 30,000 in my Gmail inbox.
That's so funny.
But I would ignore those letters from people telling me, we're really worried about you. We think you're going to die, blah, blah, blah. And I would just say, those guys are idiots. I don't trust people who don't drink. That was kind of where my head was at back then. And now
somebody told me. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, now I don't feel that way. Obviously, I haven't drank so long.
Someone told me you did a show down in Mexico, and Greg Reddick did a Mexican party that he has down there somewhere, and he said at the end of the show it got crazy, and you kept playing, you were supposed to stop at like 10, and then it was 11, and then it was like 12, and it was so hot everybody was taking like shirts off.
Yeah.
You took everything off except your underwear and played.
Yeah, probably.
And then
I
you
don't
fell
remember.
asleep on stage.
I did?
And, yeah. After it was done, everybody had gone. You kind of laid down on the. You didn't even go.
Yeah, I've slept on a few stages back in my drinking days. I haven't recently, obviously, but I had a guy show up at South by Southwest in Austin this week and say, "Do you remember when you played in my backyard in Austin?" And I just looked at him and I said, "As far as I'm concerned, I've never met you." And he said, "Well, you ended the show totally naked, standing on my wall, swinging your guitar around, telling everybody you were a helicopter." And I just looked down and I said, "I have no recollection of that, Senator." So, anyways, I mean, the shows are more fun now.
Yeah.
Not drinking.
You really orchestrate a good show. You bring the audience into it. And I say this because it's really, when I'm seeing Steve Poltz play, it's like you're doing the show for me. And it doesn't matter whether I'm in front of the crowd or on the side or up on a balcony. You just have that connection. And I don't know that many people really, Steve, that can do that. Because to pull that off, it takes a lot of concentration. And you don't do short shows. You know, I say, "Hey, Steve, can you do 70 minutes?" And then, 90 minutes later, you're still going. And I know one time we had to pull you off the stage.
You did.
I had to pull you off the stage at the Birch Aquarium for the Green Flash.
I know.
Yeah, because they were like, "He's past his curfew." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do, walk up and yank him off the stage?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I'm not going up there. You can." So, I mean, seriously. And the only thing about that is everybody wants to meet you after a show. You know. I mean, how long are the lines to see Steve Poltz? It's like, I guess the lines are shorter kissing Queen Elizabeth.
Well, a long time ago, I went to see Willie Nelson. And there's this unwritten rule about Willie that if you wait when the show's over, he stands by his tour bus and will meet everyone and shake everyone's hand, take a picture, and sign something. And I always thought that was just so cool. I mean, he doesn't charge them. Like a lot of these bands today do these VIP meet and greets, and they herd you in like a cattle call, and you shake the person's hand, take a picture, and you're out. And you pay $250 extra to do this. They call it VIP special treatment for the fans. I think it's like screwing the fans. Mm-hmm. And so I saw Willie doing that a long time ago, and I just said, man, Willie's my hero. You know, I look up to him. I look up to my heroes are like Neil Young and Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan as a writer. Not really as a live show performer, Bob Dylan,
right.
But Springsteen obviously as a live show. And so I think that's, for me, that's just what I believe. But everybody has their own thing. And it makes me happy if I see somebody and they come up after a show and they say, "Hey, I loved this." And then doing what I do as well, you always get hate mail from people too. You know,
really?
Oh yeah, some people get pissed and they send. I'm always like, somebody's always sending some hate mail every once in a while about something. But in this business, it is what it is.
It is indeed.
You got to have thick skin. Everybody's haters going to hate, and they're just going to be out there. The internet has made a lot of hate and vitriol available online.
I always liked that you did Waterfall. I thought that was such an unusual song choice. Okay, you were the first person I heard do that song outside of the original artists. And are you doing anything else like that? Are there any other songs that you found there were pop culture songs that you felt were amazing songs? Because that's one of them.
I did Waterfalls. It was really weird. I didn't even want to do it. And we had this girl. We were on a label called Priority Records when I was in the Rugburns. And it was Ice Cube was on that label. And so we used to go up to they were in the CNN building in Los Angeles. We used to go there. And it was all rappers on the label. Eazy-E, NWA, Ice Cube, and the Rugburns, and a couple other indie rock bands. And I was like, they wanted to start this indie rock division, so they signed. Rugburns were one of the bands they signed, and we used to go up there, man. And there was like security guards there because you would have rappers coming in angry about not getting paid money from the label, bringing in guns. It was awesome. Like I would go in there, and it was wild being on a rap label. Like seriously, like. The business
like packing heavy weaponry.
Yeah, the business was done differently. Like you didn't want to piss some of these people off because it was a neat time because there was so much happening in music around then in the 90s, you know, and radio and record stores were still really, really relevant, like where they would break a band on radio. Not that they still can't, because they can, but back in the day, that was like the only way to break a band.
Right.
You know, like the 70s, especially the 80s.
Right.
And I've grown up in that era watching bands, and it was almost a velvet rope mentality of, we'll let you in, we'll sign you to a record deal, we'll get you played on MTV, we'll get stations like KPRI playing you, and all these other ones, and we'll build you into a star. And, you know, back then they had what were called turntable hits and then real hits.
Right.
Turntable hits wouldn't sell records, but they sounded good on the radio, but for whatever reason they wouldn't sell records.
Right.
And it was a cool time to go through all this. And now seeing how it is, it's like it's the new West out here in the world. It's anything goes.
It's touring.
But then I think of something like Lorde.
You like that. Yeah, occasionally you have that happen, though.
Is that her name, Lorde?
Lord, just
Lord?
Yeah. Occasionally that happens. Occasionally there's that one record that just connects, and you can't explain it, and you can't predict it. And
No.
because if you could predict it, there'd be 1,000 of those songs every day.
Like her song Connected.
Yeah, well,
Lord.
Springsteen's covered it. I don't know who hasn't covered
Springsteen
it.
covered it?
He covered it down in Australia.
Royals?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And here in Tom Morello with Springsteen playing Royals. It's pretty
gotta look
impressive.
at
You got to
that.
see the video.
I saw him do Highway to Hell
Yeah.
because he was in Perth, where Bon Scott was from.
Right.
His hometown.
No, that's an interesting cover. It was an interesting cover for the East
So
Street
everybody's
Band.
covered that.
And when Springsteen covers a song, he must think something about it, because he doesn't just do that. It's not, I mean, Bruce doesn't just pick up a song and
When
do it.
Springsteen covers a song, it's amazing.
Yeah.
He does a James Taylor song called Mill Worker.
I love that. Love that song. I remember
Gosh,
that.
Springsteen does it and just destroys it. Like, makes it better than James doing it.
Well, it was from Taylor's album. I think Dad Loves His Work, if I'm not mistaken. I could be
Think
wrong.
so.
Yeah, but it was one of those
Yeah.
really thoughtful.
It was Dad Loves His Work.
Guy works really hard to make a living, and it's a hard life. And you can hear James Taylor, and you can hear Bruce Springsteen singing it. He's got that ability to pull it off. Listen, I really appreciate you coming
Yeah.
in. So the new album is
The Accident.
The Accident.
And I'll have it available. It won't be online till next week, but it'll be available this Friday at the show at the Reuben H. Fleet Space Center, which I'm excited because all my friends are freaking out going, dude, you're playing the Reuben H. Fleet Space Center? How cool is that?
Well, have you seen the guitar exhibit that's there? You got to check that
No,
out.
I'm going to get there early and look
I
at
think
it
they
all.
found that guitar that your friend lost in Arizona when you put it up against the table.
I bet it's there.
Yeah. We'll see you.
Okay.